You know, someone in the last video said I'm conditioning my audience into accepting the kind of content that I want to make, things of a more philosophical nature. It's a good observation. It's partially true, I suppose. Being a content creator is always a constant struggle between what I want to make, what the audience will find interesting, playing the algorithm, and not boring myself and all of you into a coma. Fun times. I am an unusual voice, aristocratically dressed cutlery aside. This entire channel is essentially my political journey as I spend more and more time on the fringes outside of the Overton window and in the process of learning more things, trying not to go completely insane. So far I've become a monarchist. I dare say the insane part is already achieved depending on who you ask. I have seen things that I can't unsee, and I must show all of you. Misery is not the only one that likes company, apparently so does the strange. So Clifton Duncan is a writer, he's a pretty good guy actually, wrote the following on Twitter. If you know that politics is downstream of culture, why aren't you creating any culture? Now, I don't know where this concept came from. I had an inkling. I asked Harry from the Lotus Eaters as well as Scrum, and both said Andrew Breitbart, which is where I heard it as well. I'm curious how many of you agree with the first half of that statement, because if you think about it for more than 10 seconds, you'll realize it's complete bollocks. Not only is Breitbart wrong, he is demonstrably wrong. I don't know why this myth continues to be promulgated. My only hypothesis is it's a coping belief clinged to by the political commentating types that delude themselves into thinking they hold some outsized quantity of sway or influence. Newsflash, that's balls, you don't. The reason I say this is because if you look at any period in history, any area or region, what's the first thing you ask about? Who's in charge? Why? Because it always stems from power. The state is everything. And you can freak out and chant, oh, but my free market, enlightened principles. Oh, shut up, you coping wanker, that's bollocks. Look at any previous regimes. Rome, the empire obviously, the Senate and Republic is cringe and gay. Caesar, Augustus. I found Rome a city of bricks and left it a city of marble. Supposedly the claim is somewhat disputed, I believe. But look at France, for example. Who reigned as France was brought to its cultural and intellectual zenith? King Louis XIV, the Sun King, longest reigning monarch in all of human history, royal absolutism. Then of course you had other forms of absolutism exercised in Russia by the likes of Peter the Great and Catherine the Great. Frederick the Great of Prussia, enlightened despotism. Enlightenment-inspired reforms yet adhered to the Hobbesian philosophy that the masses are incapable of ruling themselves, which of course is true. But even so, look at America. Arguably, one of America's biggest economic booms was post the First World War, launched by newly elected President Warren G. Harding, and after his passing continued on with great success by his VP, Calvin Coolidge, who would go on to win re-election in a landslide in 1924, a period known in American history as the Roaring Twenties, the period that ushered in the era of Art Deco. But even in the authoritarian regimes, this is still the case. Look at the Third Reich under the Nazi regime, powerful banners everywhere. The architectural design that draws inspiration from the classical periods, sometimes Art Deco. You can see this in the Eagle. Nazi Germany, of course, is famous for its striking and aesthetic military uniforms. Say what you like about them, and many people do, but it's undeniable the Nazis had style. But even in the Soviet Union, look at their propaganda posters. Everyone is tall, strong, in shape, because they're building this utopian vision. Well, supposedly anyway. But the regime still needs workers, healthy ones. The Soviets were fixated on health and well-being for that particular reason. And yes, obviously not starving them through incompetent central planning might have helped, but their art had power. The USSR's national anthem, for example, is badass. But if you revive Lenin and showed him the modern left in the West, holy mother of Moses, Lenin would go absolutely apeshit and decry the left as a bunch of pathetic bourgeoisie degenerates, and he would be correct in his assessment. But the Soviet aesthetic nonetheless flowed from the power of the state. Look at what we're arguing now, though. The BS with Sweet Baby Inc. is funded by the Canadian state. The Department of Homeland Security is the one who called it Gamergate 2.0. This crap with the rainbow hippies, Hollywood's obsession with DEI, representation, diversity, all of that bollocks in movies and entertainment. None of that crap is popular with the consumers. It bleeds billions of dollars and tanks studios. That's not the work of the free market. That's totalitarian intent interventionism. The point is, culture is always downstream from state power, and a purely commercial society is a dull one that lacks warmth. You must always be inspired by a higher power. Cheers for watching, and once again, I apologize for nothing.